I see President Margaret came on and President Lisa Joseph. Thank you so much for joining. I'm not sure if I missed
Yes,
anyone
good
else.
morning.
Good morning, President Patrice. Thank you for joining, and President Sonia. Thank you so much for joining this morning. Hi, good morning, and welcome everyone to Winning with Wellness Wednesday. My name is Shalicia McCoo. I'm from the beautiful island of St. Martin, and it's sunny now. It was cloudy earlier, but it's sunny now. So thank you so much for joining me. As always, I always start out with our foundational scripture out of Genesis 1 and 29. And then God said, I give you every seed bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it, and they'll be yours for food. So this is God's original plan for us to eat fruits and vegetables with the seeds because he knows that's what our body needs. He created us, so he knows exactly what our body needs to function at its optimal level. The quote of the day: time and health are two precious assets that we don't recognize and appreciate until they have been depleted. We always say, you know what, I'm going to do that when I have time or when I have money, or and fail to do what is necessary, especially for when it comes to our health. I always hear people say, you know what, I don't have the money right now, the time right now to start that business or to take care of that particular situation. And you never know how much time you have on this earth. You never know how much time you have with a loved one. You're expected to have one, especially talking about a particular illness I will be talking about in a few minutes. So take the time to make sure that you take care of your health, your loved one health, get the products that you need for them, and do your best to at least try to get it as early as possible on those products. So don't dismiss the time that you have with your loved ones. I mean, seriously spend as much time you have with them, but don't miss the time that you have with your loved ones and take your health very seriously. Disclaimer: these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So basically, like I said, I'm a wellness advocate. I'm here to share information based on my own experience and based on what I've researched on this particular topic. So definitely consult your physician or your certified nutritionist before taking any type of supplements, whether it's Artist Life or any supplements that you choose to consume. So let's talk about Alzheimer's. This month is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. And normally when we think of Alzheimer's, we think that there's a lot to still try to understand about dementia and Alzheimer's. Basically, this webinar is for caregivers, people who are taking care of their aging parents, like myself, families with history of dementia, anyone interested in protecting their brain health. So even as uh, young people as ourselves that are on this call, we got to take care of our brain. We got to make sure we start now. Don't wait until you start seeing symptoms, and by that time it's too late because those symptoms, especially with this disease, is already progressing too far. Okay, so basically understanding dementia, Alzheimer's. The more we understand Alzheimer's, the better we can support the loved ones and promote early detection. And it is so important to get detected early and find out what it is. If you start seeing little signs, get detected, find out what's going on, take the test, necessary test to see what's going on with that particular person. So awareness brings compassion and action, and basically gives you the opportunity to get things in order. So what is dementia? Dementia is not a disease. It's an umbrella term used to describe a decline in memory, thinking, reasoning, and daily functioning severe enough to interfere with every daily life. So we usually think dementia is part of Alzheimer's. Actually, it's the other way around. So there are different types of dementia and the common symptoms. So dementia, basically, the different types of dementia would be Alzheimer's disease, vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia, frontotemporal dementia. And the symptoms, the common symptoms that you will find would be memory loss, difficulty communicating, confusion, changes in judgment, and difficulty completing familiar tasks. So Alzheimer's disease is basically, today I'm only going to focus on Alzheimer's. I'm not going to focus on the other types of dementia. Alzheimer's disease accounts for approximately 60 to 80% of dementia cases. Let me make it a little bit bigger. It is a common type of dementia affecting millions of people worldwide. Numbers are growing more because people are living longer. And basically, it appears to be happening after the age of 65. It can happen in younger people, but mostly occurs after the age of 65 and affects both men and women, but more women are being diagnosed. So it's a progressive disease, a progressive brain disease that gradually destroys the memory, the thinking skills, and eventually the ability to perform simple daily activities. So what happens to the brain? The brain basically starts to accumulate these amyloid plaques. And they basically, because of that, the brain cells become damaged and communication between the neurons basically break down. If I'm going too quickly, please give me a thumbs up and I'll slow down. So I wanted to give you guys some statistics, basically in Alzheimer's by the numbers in the US. In 2026, there are 7.4 million Americans aged 65 and above that are living with Alzheimer's. Basically, 1 out of 9 seniors have Alzheimer's disease, and this is exceeding about $409 billion in healthcare costs. So why does this matter? Because the population is aging and basically people are living longer. More families are becoming caregivers to these individuals that have Alzheimer's. So Alzheimer's basically affects different communities differently. They're not equal. For example, research have shown that Black Americans are approximately twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's or related dementias. Hispanic Americans are approximately 1.5 times more likely. The contributors to these would be high rates of hypertension. Those are big illnesses in the Black community as well in the Hispanic community. And that's because of our unhealthy eating habits, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and also access to healthcare. Those are things that are affecting these communities. Therefore, basically also makes it harder for these communities to identify Alzheimer's at an earlier stage. Alzheimer's in the Caribbean. Now, these are some stats based on that we know of. These numbers may be different and larger in other islands. So ages 65 and up in Jamaica is about between 5.9 and 6%. Dominican Republic, 11.7%. Puerto Rico, 11.6, and 10.8 in Cuba. Again, I don't have the information on different islands because and I'll explain why. Why would you think, for those of you who live in Caribbean, why don't we have a lot of stats on this particular illness in the Caribbean? Can someone share what their thoughts are?
A lot of cases is not reported.
Absolutely. And why don't we report these cases?
Some people may feel ashamed.
Absolutely. Yeah, some people, we have a stigma about dementia. And so some of us, unfortunately, in the Caribbean, we're proud. We like to keep our information private. Like even for myself, I didn't know how far it went until in January, before I went to Las Vegas. That's where I found out what was going on. So for some reason we don't like to keep when it comes to these type of illnesses, we like to keep it private and don't want to share what's going on, and not in a bad way, but sometimes we don't even know. We just think of it's old age, you know. Especially in the Caribbean, it's like, oh, she's just being forgetful. That's just getting old. You know what I'm saying? We dismiss these things. And that results in delayed diagnosis, limited caregiver resources. So we have caregivers that don't know how to deal with this particular situation because some patients become aggressive when they because of this illness. So we don't have a lot of caregivers that have been trained in this with this particular situation, especially in the Caribbean. Aging population, again, many families assume memory loss is simply getting old, and early recognition makes a big difference. I mean, once you start seeing symptoms, there are different stages of Alzheimer's, but once you start seeing symptoms, you may be at a stage where it got a little bit too far along. So what causes dementia? There are multiple factors. There are factors that we could actually we have no control over. They are non-modifiable factors. We have absolutely no control over. Yes, President Brenda, I see your hand.
I'm sorry, you're getting to the point. My question was, with Alzheimer's and dementia, what is the cost effect of it? What brings on, the forgetfulness? Because I would say, it's getting old too. That would be my my reason for dementia or Alzheimer's. I know you say it's different, but Alzheimer's and dementia is like, let's say, it's.
So Alzheimer's is a form of dementia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so because dementia is basically is a term they use of when your memory, your brain activity started to decline. That's
Okay.
dementia. And Alzheimer's is just basically a form of dementia, and it has to do with basically what part of the brain, and also the amyloid plaques that starts accumulating in that particular area of the brain. So,
Mm.
so that's one thing. So it could be called factors could be aging, family
Okay.
history, genetics. There are certain genes that are related to it that will cause dementia. Factors that actually make it even more harder, becomes more progressive, would be such as high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes. These are all things, the modifiable ones. These are factors that we could control. So you know someone who may be showing signs of dementia and they have these things like high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, smoking, physical inactivity, poor diet. You definitely want to make sure that you start talking about them about changing their lifestyle. You want to basically get that on board on the supplements or even eating better to reduce these different factors to at least help reduce the progression. So basically, what we can
Thank you.
influence, what can we do? You're welcome. What can we do? Like I mentioned earlier, healthy blood pressure, controlling your blood sugar, a regular movement, exercise. I make sure my mom, because she deals with high blood pressure as well as irregular heart condition, so she's still on medication, but I also make sure she's taking the products. But one of the things that I stress on her all the time, because she was actually doing physical therapy and she stopped, but I make sure at home she's walking. So every night she goes on the porch and walks, do her little lap like 10 times back and forth. It's a big porch, to her exercise, just walking, just simple movement like that. You want to make sure you keep the regular movement, a healthy weight, quality sleep. That is so important. I stress about this all the time. Sleep is the time when our body's actually detoxing itself. It's actually, especially the brain. Okay, so you definitely want to make sure you get quality sleep and match your stress. If the stress level is high, that releases different hormones, also affects the brain. So what are early signs to look for? And don't ignore these signs. Memory loss, basically affecting daily life. And again, especially in the Caribbean, we see the start forgetting things. We say, oh, she's just getting old, and just dismiss it, where there were underlying things going on. You know what I'm saying? And even she was dismissing it as well. So we just say, oh, I just forgot that. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? That's how we talk here in the islands. Where we forget something, where there's some underlying issues that were going on that we didn't know until it basically was too late to actually do something about it. Difficulty finding words, repeating questions, poor judgment, getting lost in familiar places, mood or personality changes, withdrawal from social activities. So basically, early evaluation is important. Anytime you start seeing these signs, you definitely want to actually start checking things out. So how is it diagnosed? That's the kind of small prints here. Sorry about that. Trying to make it. So they have special scans. You have to see a neurologist, specialists that do brain scans such as MRI, CT scans, and they look for changes in the brain structure. These scans can help rule out problems like stroke and tumors. I know when after my mom had her stroke and she does her regular checkup, they usually give her a scan just to make sure there's nothing going on, everything's going well in the brain. Anyway, they have some other advanced tests like PET scans and spinal fluid analysis. And some of these, I don't know if they actually do that here in the Caribbean. I didn't really talk to my dad about that, but these are some things that they do to look for specific protein changes with people that have Alzheimer's. So basically, the doctor will look at memory tests. They will ask about symptoms and also talk to the family and find out if there's any changes in behavior or thinking. So, like I mentioned earlier, Alzheimer's, there's certain different stages in Alzheimer's. So Alzheimer's is a progressive condition, which means it changes and develops over time. You have to understand the different stages. And I started doing this research back when my dad told me about my stepmom. And I didn't realize that some stages will take a longer time and others will go very fast. And that happened in this particular situation. So knowing these stages will help you prepare ahead of time, adjust the levels of care, and support your loved ones. A person's journey, everyone's is different. Like I said, some people move slowly and others will progress very quickly. So knowing which stage that person is in is very helpful. So in mild stage, they have some memory problems start to occur. It's noticeable, but the person still could function properly. They function by themselves. They may forget some names, misplace objects. And when I saw my stepmom in January, I believe, before Las Vegas, she was fine. At least to me, she could tell me about her days back in her home country, and she was fine. So when my dad told me what was going on, I was like, "Are you sure she's not playing with you guys?" He's like, "Nope, she's forgetting stuff." I'm like, "Okay." So that was, to me, she was in her mild stage, or at that time. This was in January. Now, next time I saw that, I just happened, I was like, okay, I need to go visit my dad because he wasn't returning my calls. I went to visit him. I think it was in March. And then he told me what was going on. It had progressed. She became in stage, moderate stage, where she basically could not even remember my name. I keep asking her, "Do you know my name?" And my dad had to tell her what my name was. And she would smile and stuff, but she didn't remember my name. She will communicate, but didn't remember who I was. So that became, I'm like, okay, this thing is moving very fast. This is happening really quick. And then basically come to the point where at this stage, I think it was in May, where communication was very limited. She wasn't really talking much. She would just shake her head, and she wasn't eating. No matter what I gave her, make the different stuff that I gave her, she would not take it. She wasn't, not even water. So this became a problem, and they actually had to do take her to the hospital emergency room several times, and let her stay in the hospital several times to get IV. So you have to know what stage this person is in, and basically in this case, it happened very quickly. One of the things they found, the researcher found that there's definitely a connection between the gut and the brain. I talked about this gut-brain connection before, and basically the gut and the brain usually communicate through nerves, hormones, immune signals, and gut bacteria. So having a healthy gut is so important, especially to influence the brain function. So gut health and Alzheimer's research, like I said, scientists have found that there's a link between the gut microbiome imbalance, chronic inflammation, the amyloid plaque formation, cognitive decline. So there's a direct connection they found between the gut health and the long-term brain health, especially when it came to Alzheimer's research disease. So I would suggest that to take care of your gut. And if you're taking care of your gut, eating the right foods such as leafy greens, fatty fish that has omegas in it, berries have the antioxidants, nuts and seeds, healthy fats, omegas in it, fermented foods, beans and legumes, those have the fibers in it, a high fiber diet. That will actually help, number one, maintain a nice regular bowel movement, as well as provide help feed the good bacteria that your body needs so that that communication between the gut and the brain works better. Definitely want to limit foods, unhealthy foods such as excess sugar, fried foods, processed snacks, alcohol, fats, all of these different things definitely increases the rate of this particular disease. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about is glutathione, which is known as a master antioxidant. And this particular protein they have found is actually, they've noticed in people with Alzheimer's, that it's actually lower in people with Alzheimer's. So this protein basically is something that our body makes naturally from amino acids such as cysteine, glutamine, and glycine. People call it, like I said, the master antioxidant. It helps neutralize free radicals. As you know, free radicals damage our cells, and also speed up aging. The glutathione basically helps neutralize those free radicals. It supports the liver detox. Our liver is the primary organ that helps with detoxification of toxins, heavy metals, medication that affects the body, have negative effects on the body. So if you're on medication, you definitely want to make sure you're consuming a product that contains glutathione in it. And I'll talk about one of the products that we have here in Artist Life. It recycles other antioxidants, so it helps regenerate vitamin C and vitamin E, which is necessary for our body's function, and also supports immune function. So notice that as we age, those levels of glutathione, like I said, it's a natural protein that our body makes. Actually, as we age, that level starts to decline. And it's declined not only because of aging, because of chronic stress, poor diet, illness, inflammation, and toxic exposure. And when the glutathione levels run low, oxidative stress builds up faster, and then the body can clear it. So with Alzheimer's, which involves chronic oxidative stress in the brain, so the amyloid plaques are building up, the tau tangles are also increasing. These basically generates a flood of free radicals to the brain, which damages the neurons faster than the brain can repair itself. Another reason why you definitely want to sleep, because the brain is repairing itself while it's sleeping. However, because of Alzheimer's, the oxidative stress is so high that those free radicals are destroying those neurons. Glutathione is the brain's primary defense against damage. So when you have lower levels of glutathione levels are basically found in people with Alzheimer's, and basically especially if there's in certain places where it's hard to detect this. So like in Caribbean countries, some places may not have the ability to detect those levels in a patient. So what research I found, basically depletion happens early. So if the glutathione levels basically decline, shows up in mild cognitive impairment, so basically in the early stage of Alzheimer's. So basically researchers have used that as a marker of whether that person have the onset or early stage of Alzheimer's. It also helps notice that if there's a liver and brain connection matters. So if the glutathione basically is low, that also means that detox system in the liver becomes low. So that causes a more buildup of toxic waste in the body, as well as that reaches the brain, and that causes oxidative damage. Glutathione also protects mitochondria. Protects mitochondria, which is also known, if mitochondria destroyed in neurons, that also affects brain cells from functioning or growing, and basically Once the mitochondria is destroyed, basically those brain cells start to die. So there's a cycle. If the inflammation basically starts to increase, you have a low glutathione, and with glutathione, that causes more oxidative stress, which causes more inflammation, which causes a faster cognitive decline. And one of the things that I was told is that there was a lot of inflammation, and unfortunately, if someone is not eating or drinking anything, no matter what I do or prepare, and she's not opening her mouth to take it, I mean, we can't do anything about it. So that was a very a struggle for me, and for my dad. It's like, okay, how can we get this in her? I'm like, I don't know. She's not opening her mouth. I mean, literally, she would not open her mouth to drink anything, not even water. So that was hard. So one of the products that I use with not only for her but also for my dad, because I see that he was getting very stressed about the situation, was using our product, our NutriShake, which has glutathione in it, and it also has all the amino acids that help to make glutathione, helps the body make the glutathione, such as the amino acids, glutathione, arginine, and also vitamins and minerals. So this is not when you use this product, don't think of it, oh, this is just another protein shake. This is a powerful product here that has awesome ingredients to help not only as a wonderful meal replacement, but it also helps our bodies, detox the waste in our bodies, and which also helps our brain. So we definitely want to not minimize this awesome product. In addition to that, these are some other supplements that I actually put into the NutriShake. I know some people, when they think of the NutriShake, they think, oh, it's sweet. To balance that sweetness, I would suggest take half a scoop of the NutriShake and also add like dark chocolate, really dark chocolate, like 90% if you as dark as you could get it. 90% of the dark chocolate that helps balance out the sweetness. Adding avocado and some blueberries that helps make a wonderful brain shake. And I added all these other supplements in it, except for the Ultra Body Cleanse. Add all these other supplements in it to help. So one of the things, if you are dealing, you know, someone that may be dealing with Alzheimer's, you definitely want to include some brain supportive foods daily. Have them walk. Activity is important. Movement is important. Even if they don't want to do it, you just say, you know what? Even if it's like a step from one part of the house to the next, have them do it every single day. Include a lot of fiber-rich foods. Do some memory screening, even some memory activities. Get help, make sure they get quality sleep, put away the phones, they get quality sleep, and also have some type of nutritional strategy that fits into your lifestyle. Okay, so these are some action steps that I'm hoping that you guys will take if you know someone or even for yourselves. Be proactive about your health and start taking the supplements, not only just to feel good, but also for long-term health. So brain health is basically not determined by one choice. It's basically something that we have to do repeatedly every single time. When you're caring for someone with dementia, basically, or supporting any type of, not any type, supporting aging parents, take the step to protect not only their future, but as yours as well. So what you do today really matters. Thank you so much for coming and joining me on this wonderful day. As always, an appointment with artists will change your life. We'll see you at the top and at the bank.
Well, good morning. Good morning once